Right. The top.
playing Shipkoff. I don't know if Shipkoff has a first name. I'm sure he does, but I don't know what it is. You know, Antoine Shipkoff. And Shipkoff is a kind of he's a Bulgarian who was a ringmaster with the Bulgarian circus, probably a one-ring traveling circus that had maybe a few animal acts, but had trapeze artists and acrobats and clowns, and it was out of a real, what I think of as an Eastern European tradition of the circus, a traveling circus, going to small towns where there's no, I imagine, no radio, you know, no telephone in some cases, and certainly no TV, even as recently as 20 years ago, and bringing, you know, the world of wonder to these people. And the circus, the tradition of the circus in Bulgaria, I'm told, was supported culturally by the communists when Bulgaria was a communist country, and they got other performers in the circus got money. And when the wall fell, the Iron Curtain fell, all that money was cut off. So Shipkoff and his wife have come to America. They won the green card lottery and he's come over here, and because of language difficulties and other difficulties, the fact that the circus is not that popular here, he was not able to secure work in the circus, which is what he'd hoped, and now works for, well, I was going to say the MTA, but the New York subways, but he works in a large city, and he works as a driver on a subway. It's not necessarily New York, but it seems to be like New York, or maybe Boston. Well, it's a brand. Well, the best thing about it for me is it's a new play. It has this is probably, I think, its biggest production ever. So it's really, for all intents and purposes, a brand new play. I did the first reading of it ever, I think, that in New York a couple of years ago, which is how I got involved in it. And it's nice to be the first one. You know, to have your hands on the script for the first time and not have anybody played the character before and all that. So I like that. And Aditi, I don't know Aditi Capel very well. I've met her once, the playwright. But her writing is really, the more we work on it, it's very deep and it's very rich. It's like an onion. You peel back a layer and you find another layer beneath it. There's a lot there to consider. It's not all on the surface. It's rich, I think.
Do you work on a lot of new plays?
As many as I can, yeah. I really, it's the most fun. It's not the most money, but it is the most. It is the most fun. I mean, it really is. I've done, you know, Shakespeare and Miller and stuff like that, and it's wonderful. But it's being the first guy there is kind of, it's fun. Yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
The people are very nice. I really like Eric, the director, and the assistant director's a doll. And the people, the process is at a point now that you'll always get in any play, you know, where you kind of like, you know the lines, but not quite, and you're calling a line, and everything's a bit more tenuous than you ultimately want it to be, and it'll come, but, you know, at this point you always think it won't, but it always does.
Right.
So, and it will.
We're kind of at the messiest place right now.
Yeah, it really is. It's really, it's not gelled yet.
Right. It's like you spend the first couple weeks of rehearsal digging a hole, and then you spend the next couple weeks of rehearsal digging yourself back out of the hole. You know?
you don't have a template. I mean, that's another thing with a new play. I mean, you're approaching Death of a Salesman. You've got productions and years and valuable research that has been done on it, and you at least have more of a starting point. There's a clear path there. Even if you're going to go a different way, you have a clear path to diverge from. Here there's no path. You're making your own path. Well, you're your own instrument. I mean, you know, like violinist takes his instrument out of his case. You know, we're the violin and the guy who plays it.
Right.
You know, we're playing music written by somebody else. Wow. But I mean, it's so, I mean, you know, you have to take care of yourself, your instrument, physically you can't let yourself go, because quite often work on stage is taxing. And you can't get hurt, or you can't, you know, because you have to do it again and again and again and again. Hopefully just
well, emotionally too, right?
Yeah, but that's more, plastic or fluid. I mean, some people who, I was talking to a young actor about this the other day. He was trying to, how do you get this same emotional level after 2 weeks? And I was like, well, how do you get it after 8 months? You know, if you're in a run like that, which he hasn't, but I have been, and it's, you have to find different ways, and sometimes it's not, you know, people think technique or the idea of, you know, appearing to be going through an emotion while not actually going through that emotion, going through the memory of it, is cheating somehow, but it's not. It's really not. It's an effective way to move the audience and tell the story. And we forget, you know, I forget too, you know, you go on and say, well, gee, I wasn't as good as I was last night, you know. Every night, the audience is seeing it for the first time. They don't know how it's supposed to be. They don't know what you're supposed to do here. They don't know what you did last week or last night. They don't care. It's all in the moment.